And we are rolling. Welcome everyone to Switch Radio, and as promised, I've got a very special guest here in the studio with me. However, this interview is going to come up with a trigger warning. It is speaking about upsetting events. So if you don't want to be upset or you don't want to listen to certain things, now is your time to turn off. But with me in the studio, I have got author and young children and child abuse advocate Sarah Rose. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me in the studio. So what I'm going to do is start from the very beginning. So tell us the root and the reason why you are here today.
So the reason I'm here today is because of Arthur.
Yeah.
Everyone has heard about Arthur obviously being murdered by his father and his partner.
Yeah.
And so in 2007, my son was murdered while I was at work. And I've got a phone call to say go to the hospital. I've gone to the hospital and I've never enough got arrested straight away. I didn't even know before they even really told me he was dead. Well, police have took me into a different room.
So you don't know what's going on?
No. And then they're just asking me questions. I wasn't arrested. They just, police took me. They've started asking me questions about who's around Cameron. Cameron's my son, by the way. Who's around Cameron, who looks after him, how our relationship is, how I am as a mum, and things like that. A couple of hours later, they arrested me for manslaughter by gross negligence and knowing and allowing a child to die. I just 1 minute I was in the house, leaving for work, making my son a bottle, playing with him. Then on the night, I'm in a police cell, arrested for his murder. So from the morning,
you've just gone to work, and then it's just flipped.
Yeah, I just didn't know what was going on. I was sitting there and I was just rocking. I just couldn't process.
So you're trying to process the information that your son's died while being sat in a police cell.
So and then me not believing that my partner's done it as well. I just, they kept saying to me, his injuries are non-accidental. Someone's done this.
So there was no plausible explanation as to how this happened.
No. So so time went on. I spoke to a solicitor. He had three autopsies altogether. The first one could have put me I think it was about an hour there, which would have meant I've injured my son, hurt my son, then gone off to work. His murder. Yeah. The second one put me not there, and then the third one put me not there. But because of that initial first autopsy, I was charged for my son's murder, and I had a 3-year-old at the time as well, and I wasn't allowed. I've still got him. He's still here, but I wasn't allowed around him either. That was part of the bail conditions. The solicitor said to me, he was he gave me all the medical evidence, and he said, "Someone's murdered your son, Sarah. It has to be him." And
did you even consider him for a moment?
No, not one bit.
So you didn't know the answer? You didn't do it,
I was thinking something else must have happened. There's no way he would have done that. Yeah. My son started calling him Dad. His dad wasn't really around. He wasn't around at all, to be fair. And we was together for about 10 months, and he used to stop a couple of days a week. I went to work, so he wasn't at work at the time, so that's why instead of me catching the bus in the morning, dropping my son to my mum's.
Your partner,
and so but then the medical evidence come, and he had a ruptured liver, ruptured spleen. He had that many bruises on his belly, you couldn't count them. Slow bleed brain, and that's when he knew he's done something.
Did you accept it straight away that he'd murdered your child?
When I knew that it had to be a non-accident. He's
still
done
hard
something.
to get nonetheless, isn't it?
But I just couldn't. Why? I still don't understand.
I'm dealing with the grieving process, losing your partner, the fact that the spot was on you. How in the world did you get through that?
I was I never got go, and I went to East, I think it was called, a woman's prison in Gloucester, and they said to me, like, they were telling me to do gym induction, prison induction. I was like, are you crazy? Like,
just lost my son to my partner.
I went, and then they were like, well, don't tell no that what you're in here for. And two, because I wanted people to know it wasn't me. I wanted to tell people it wasn't me, and they were like, no.
And also talk about the death of your child, because that would help the healing process as well.
And I just felt like I remember a prison officer outside, and she was like, I'm going in. I felt like a murderer. I felt like I didn't get no support off anyone. I wasn't allowed to speak to any of my family because they've all wrote statements, not statements against me. Like, every statement that was written was all for me, but I was absolutely alone. I was I was 21. My son's not here no more. I wasn't even allowed to go see him at the is it morgue? I wasn't allowed to plan his funeral or anything like that because I wasn't allowed to talk to my mum, and she was the one that was doing it all. And still up to this day, the police, like, I get now, I was very angry at first when, like, I got acquitted of all the charges. I was very angry, but I get why they've done it, because so many people, like, he was murdered, they needed to find out the truth.
Yeah, of course.
And I get it now, but still to this day, it proper hurts that.
You never got to grieve.
Yeah.
Did you ever get an apology from anyone?
No one. Still, even when I got acquitted, all they wanted me to do was the first thing I forgot what they're called, CPS, is it? Yeah, the first thing they said to me was, I hope you're okay, we'll get you some support now, or like a family liaison officer or whatever. The first thing they said to me was, we need you to be a witness against him now. That's the first thing they said, which I said, I will stand up. He never stood up and gave evidence. He wouldn't. His story kept changing. 1 minute I was a great mum, the next minute I was the crappiest mum, and then it went back to I was a great mum again. Yeah. So I said, I will give evidence, but it's going to look like I'm sticking up for him, because there is nothing.
There was no indications.
He never put his hands on me whatsoever either. Like, it wasn't that he was. I knew he was arrested when he was younger for things like street robbery and things like that. But
child abuse is a complete
where I live and the people I know, it was kind of like. Not a normal thing, but
it wasn't like, oh my god, you've been arrested for street robberies. It was kind of the norm, isn't it? Especially from kind of
and areas. Because I know people can change anyway, like by doing things like that. So I didn't really judge him on that.
Well, I mean, if someone had said to you, he's been arrested for,
he had a daughter as well. He's a daughter. She must be about. She must be now. He was not regular. I met her, but he used to live.
Was great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, having a great father, because
isn't it, father? There's not sensitive from him.
I haven't heard. Is like the probation? I don't even know that probably because it's just to say that he's in prison. Thing but one was saying he's looking to apply for that prison, and I need to get my state ID because soon his time is going where we get out. And that proper me back. Because I thought I was okay now. It took us proper off the rails.
Yeah, I can imagine it's going to be get over, learn to deal with.
Yeah, it took me to get where I am now. Like, but talking about it, blood risk.
Understandably.
But I feel now I'm at a place where I can use what I've been through to help others see that they can get through anything.
How did your support network, so once you was allowed to start speaking to your family, how did your support network help you carry that heaviness of your heart?
I wouldn't be here without them. 100%. I would not be here without my mum, and it really upsets me and my mum and my sister. But this was seen at the time, see me commit suicide a few times, and even me going around family worrying about me, the pressure I've put on them.
And I'm sure they told you that. Completely understand. I think most would have said,
like,
you're only human.
Like, even my friend, I've had a good group of friends as well. I put myself out, I tell my face, so I'm going to negative comments as well, and I do get well, the known things. It's awful, but which I deal with like that now because how I people say you're guilty, but him, my son. So I feel I have to take that respect, and I think that probably we deal with the two common that I'm saying agree with you. That's why I'm here trying to make sure no one else go that because my son wanting to have done vain, wanting to have but he's done want his death to help so many other people, and it has already.
And I suppose it's so hard because, as you say, you'd never know if there's no indications there. Yeah, it's kind of like if you don't know, it could happen to anybody else you know yourself.
Yeah, like social services. I've never had social service. I was a young mum with 2 kids. I was 21 at the time, but I never had services like involved. I'm not even saying if you've got social services involved, like you're a better because it's not. But no one ever wrote statements ever had a problem with the
current case at the moment. You can see a lot of family members are saying
I tried, but I didn't.
What gave you the strength to start writing a book and tell your story?
It was part of my grieving process. I realised that me talking to. I think the first I was in a charity event and raised money for the NSPC and I felt good. I felt happy. I felt like me helping others. That's my grief. So then we raised money for the second event we done. We raised money for Keanu Williams' headstone. And then I just done speaking about what I've been through, and then I'll get messages of people saying how I've helped them, without even knowing. And then I got approached about the book. And it took me over a year to write the book. Like, I had help, because if it was written by me, the grammar would have been disgusting. But, but it was like a counselling session, because I had, like, a ghostwriter with me.
You was telling everything to
It was like, and some things I probably never, ever spoke about because it hurt, like, I was so open in the book that it took me back. It took me straight back. And it was hard. It was really hard. The hardest thing I've done since my son's death. But I get messages off women from Australia, New Zealand, to say how their book has really inspired them to, like, get that like oomph back in life,
for people that have gone through exactly what you've gone through. So essentially, the book was helping you, help to heal you. I say you're never going to be fully healed, not from something so traumatic like that, but it was a part of your healing process, wasn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
So you've also done marches as well, haven't you, around child abuse?
Yeah. So April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and when I started looking at the figures and statistics and that, like, at least, this was in 2000, and I think it was 2014, 15, like, at least one child is murdered a week in the UK. Okay. At least, I think it was 1 in 6 people are abused by someone they know and things like that. And the figures are just so high, and I know for a fact the figures are a lot worse now, especially with the whole COVID and lockdown and everything. And so I thought I need to do something. People don't want to talk about it. People want to, because it's such a hard topic. Yeah. It's not that they don't want to talk about it. Like,
it's out of mind almost, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like happening. Kind of swept under the carpet.
Yeah.
And
if it's not happening to me, then I can just ignore it.
Yeah. So we done two we've done, like, some in outside the town hall in Birmingham. And just giving out leaflets and just saying, like, every child is our problem. Like, if you think something is going on, report it. It's better to be in a child's business than not be. Yeah. It's better to get it wrong than make a mistake and then be like, I wish I would have done something back then. But, like, even giving out the leaflets, some people didn't want to take them, so, like, some people
not
just
even to read it and just see what you're giving out.
No, like, child abuse, it's very it hurts, so no one wants to, like,
it's hard to read,
admit that it happens. So I do get it.
So with the recent poor little Arthur case and the other children that have recently lost their lives as well, I'm assuming that triggered a lot for you, didn't it? It brought up a load of, I wouldn't say old emotions, but emotions that you probably haven't really been feeling as of late.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always like reading the articles and things like the safeguarding reports when a child dies, like of non-accidental. But the Arthur one, I don't know whether it was because of the whole media attention on it, on him dying, and everyone's statuses on Facebook and Instagram, everything was Arthur. So it's usually only a couple of articles and then that's it. But Arthur got loads of attention, and it just took me right back. But it also not got me angry, but it hurt me.
Well, this was one of my questions, how did it feel for you that you've been advocating for it for such a long time, and then it's only now people are like, oh my God, like, this is real, this is a real thing happening?
It was like I don't know how to explain it, but I was hurt. I was like, look, why didn't people listen? Like, I'm not saying I could have, like, saved Arthur, but this has been happening for years. Why only now are people noticing it? Like, I just wish... I don't know, I just wish people realise how much it happens back then, because then more people are aware, and I know that people did try to help Arthur. Yeah. But, like, things could have been changed, like, within social services by now, if something would have happened, like, all them years ago, like, different like priorities and things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Think the pandemic, I mean, Arthur, they were saying that a lot of his torture was during the pandemic. Do you think that plays a massive part in, because children are stuck in the house, that sometimes their school's the safe haven, or the teachers might pick up on things? Do you think that the pandemic has sort of allowed these abusers to get away with it a lot easier?
Yes, definitely, 100%, because, as you said, people class home as their safe space. No, sometimes school's their safe place, sometimes, like, a different family members their safe place. Like, it's not always, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors, do you?
I've known of kids to say they get a break when they go to school.
Yeah, and I just think maybe everyone used the working at home, not as an excuse, but social services as well. Like, there wasn't in the offices, they were all working from home, so no one really went out, and no one was really actually out there helping. Do you know what I mean? And
like, there was 2 social services that went there, wasn't there? And they managed to just...
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, when you're comparing your case, even though there's different comparisons, to compare your case with Arthur's case, it was like they put the spotlight on you because they needed answers, they needed someone to blame. But yet when they had a child in front of them that had a bruise on them, it was like, oh no, that's okay, it's fine. Yeah. That's what kind of confuses me with authorities. It's almost like they pick and choose who they blame and who they don't blame.
This like, I know a lot of social workers, and they do a great job. I am not blaming social workers whatsoever, but things have to change. The way it can't be just a checklist now. It can't be just a tick box.
Because in Arthur's case, it was a case of the mum says, oh, he was play fighting boxing with my son,
and the house is clean and things like that. No, like, people can hide stuff. I can't remember what child it was, but a child was murdered. This was years ago. I can't remember his name. But the social worker that went there, the house was all clean upstairs, but when the child died, upstairs, I'm not saying a house, like, determines whether a child is murdered, but upstairs was disgusting. Like,
they said with the case with Little Star as well, I was reading her case notes, and the friend, I think it was that Holly Jones, she said that when the social services planned to come round,
she let them know.
And there was cleaning up and stuff. And I thought, why would you let them know?
That's one thing I've never got. Why do you, if it's a case of abuse, like someone's, like, why would you let them know?
Because then what they do is cover the bruises up, clean the house, and they give the perfect nuclear look at us, we're a happy family.
Like, even like days, because I still get depressed, and sometimes I don't want to clean my house, and sometimes I don't want to get out of bed. Sometimes I really have to force myself. And like, when I know friends are coming round, I'm like, I'm gonna have to tidy up, like really close. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's like that. Like, why would you? I think
take the child away on their own as well. I think to question a child in front of someone that's been accused of abuse, whether they're right or wrong, take the child on their own. Yeah. Because 9 times out of 10, the child, if they're being abused, will be too scared to say anything in front of the abuser.
There's no way, because no matter what, the abuser have told them, like, no one's going to believe you.
Yeah.
If you tell them this, then watch what I like.
Yeah.
So they're scared, and that's what all they've heard. So that's going to be in their brain. Like, they're not going to believe that this social worker's here to help them. Like,
Did your book raise a lot of awareness around it?
it's still now. Like, even last night, I got a message saying like Arthur's death. I don't know whether it's because I've spoke out since Arthur died.
Yeah.
But Arthur's death has a lot more people have bought my book since then, and like they've just said like how much people have messaged me, like how much how much children are dying. Like I'm like, it's been happening
at the hands of 9 times out the parent or the
yeah,
parent's child,
yeah,
parent's partner.
It is usually even not just death, even just abuse. Like it's whether it's sexual or physical. Like even that, it's more than likely someone who knows the child.
I think after Arthur, I started reading a lot about it and doing research, and I could not believe how many children there are, how it's just not seen, how many social services have gone round, how many times the police have been alerted, how many times the doctors have been told.
Yeah.
And it's like I think I've read of it about 10 in the past couple of years.
What's his name? Oh, I forgot his name now. Little blonde
Baby
kid
P.
in the red. No, in the red. The picture is blonde and he's in the red jumper. Daniel
Palpak.
Yeah, that's it. Like him eating people's scraps at school.
He was caught eating out of the bin, wasn't he?
Yeah, like.
Why would the teacher not alert?
Yeah, like I just don't. I don't understand. But this is what I mean. The checklists, what social services and schools have, it needs to completely change and like do something. No, even schools, even teachers need to be. I don't know whether they are, but they need to be trained more in depth of signs of abuse and things like that.
Like safeguarding almost, isn't it? Because I don't think they are. I think that they're trained in teaching.
It's just the teaching, and then it's like even like when children are naughty at school. Yeah. Sometimes it's not a case that they're naughty. They've got stuff going on at home. They need to be trained to deal with. I know they've probably got enough stuff going on, but they need to notice, well, why is this child being naughty? Why are they acting this way? Yeah. And then you probably could get to the root cause of why.
Well, I know people that work in behavioural schools, and they've got a lot of compassion towards misbehaved children. They're put into these specialist schools, and they say that when they go home, the stuff that they have to deal with. Some are in foster homes. Some hear the mums constantly screaming at them all the time. Yeah. Some don't even have dinner. Some don't even have a Christmas present. And it's like no wonder that they're reacting the way that they are.
Yeah.
So they need more help. They need more emotional help, I think, as well.
I agree, 100%. Like everyone's saying how they've got like bad mental health from being locked down and COVID and that. Now children are people too. Yeah. Children are also going through this stuff. Like children have also not seen their friends and things like that. Like they're feeling alone. Like you have to realise that you can't just shout at your children when they're down or when they're moaning because they're just they're like us.
My sister, when she had COVID a few months ago, my niece is only 6, and my sister says to her, you can't go to school because I've got COVID, and she couldn't understand why. Yeah. And she started crying because she wanted to see her friends at school. My sister was like, I feel so bad. Like, how do I explain to a 6-year-old child that she can't go to school because I've got coronavirus? And she said she was so upset by it, but she was happy going to school. She was, she wanted to see her friends, but not enough is done to sort of understand the mental health impact that it has on children.
Like now, I think the list for the child to like see someone to help with their mental health now, I think it's months long. Do you know what I mean? Like you just can't. No one
knows where to go. Do they? It's like where do they go?
All the like organisations like Kams and I forgot the other one. Is it Birmingham Mines for children? Yeah. But all of them, they're just there's no room for the waiting.
That's what I think, as you say, they should try and maybe teach us. Yeah. Have more mental health specialists within school. So I remember when I went to Sheldon Heath, and I think whenever I misbehaved, I could go to a classroom where there was 2 people there that'd sit down and talk to me. Yeah. They don't have that anymore in schools. No. Just, take the child out of the room, put them with somebody that, is trained in mental health, is trained in child work and help them.
During the pandemic, I trained in mental health first aid now. But it's made me realise that how my children suffer from secondary trauma now. And that is because of how I haven't dealt with how I never dealt with my own mental health, and now they suffer because of that, and I think that happens in loads of homes. Like the cycle needs to break. You need to really deal with your trauma.
And if you're not getting the help that you need, how can you then
help
you can't pour from
others.
an empty cup, can you? How can you help others if you don't know where to turn to yourself?
And I didn't realise that before. Like I was feeling down and still putting myself out there, draining myself. Then I'm going home and I just can't be bothered to do nothing. And then like
you just want to lie there and curl up in a ball and cry, I'm guessing.
Yeah. But now you do have to put yourself, because as you said, pour from an empty cup.
I said before that you like to help by helping people, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So now you do your youth work, don't you? And you also have a petition which I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So tell me about this petition that you've created, and you've got 15,000 signatures so far.
Yeah. So that means, because I over 15,000, it means they have to respond to me. The government have to respond. I don't actually know what that means.
You're writing on email from the government saying
every day I'm writing. So the petition is. So what I've done a petition years ago, and it was for murder of a child, absolute life sentence. Like there's not 25 years, and then you can apply to come out. Like life means life. Yeah. And it never got nowhere. I think I got 3,000 signatures. But then obviously Arthur's Law, they're talking of, it hasn't come in yet, but they're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Like about
next April, isn't it? I think
is it?
I think
so so hopefully that will make that. But then I said that I wanted that to mean that everyone already in prison, that should apply to them too.
As well, yeah. Even historic cases such as your own.
Yeah, but they've told me no. That isn't allowed, because you have to appeal within 28 days of the sentence.
But weren't you in prison for 28 days after? Well, in a cell for 28 days after.
Well, when he got actually found guilty. Yeah, when he got, like, that's when you have to appeal. So when he got found guilty, I was just happy that he got found guilty. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about the years. I was thinking, I can grieve now. I can start building
almost
a relationship
like an
with my son.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. Like it was kind of like a bittersweet thing. Like
the first thing on your mind wasn't, well, I'm going to appeal to actually never get out.
Like it was about 6-7 years later that I thought, this sentence isn't good enough. I don't want it. Like he should be in there longer. He hasn't even admitted what he's done. Like, so my petition is to abolish the 28-day period of sentencing, so that you can appeal
anytime.
Yeah, anytime, really.
Well, they wouldn't interview, say in terms of police, they wouldn't interview somebody that is mentally incapable or that's upset, because they'll say it doesn't stand. So why should that 28-day stand?
Yeah.
If somebody's not in the right frame of mind or they're upset, you can't expect them to respond to that verdict.
Yeah, 100%. I wasn't all there. Like after he got sentenced, like I wanted to start building a relationship with my other son again, because obviously I haven't really seen him. He just thinks his mum has left him. But I went off the rails and I was doing stuff I shouldn't do, and like
you weren't in the right frame of mind.
Not at all. But now I am, and now I think it's just another step back. Like I have to worry about now that in 2 years' time, I could be walking down the road and bump into him, the man who killed my son. Like, I don't know what I'll do. I remember I thought I seen him in town years and years ago, and I actually dropped my bags and I stood there and I froze. I knew it wasn't him, because I knew he was in prison.
Just the thought of it.
Just the thought. So if I really did see him, that's not fair, because
no, it's not.
I can't continue. I'm trying. I've got other children, and I'm trying to do stuff and continue on with my life. And the fact that I have to worry about bumping into him isn't fair.
No, it's not. And I'm guessing you haven't seen him since that morning you left for work, have you?
No, not at all. They put us in the same prison van. They put us in the same prison van. Yeah, from Stepford Police Station to go to Magistrates Court, we was in the same prison van, and he was shouting me. He knew I was there, and he was shouting, "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah," and I just sat there in silence.
And that's the last you ever heard of him?
That's the last I ever heard
and
of him.
they now just expect for him to come out and you to be like...
Yeah, he's done his time. That's what it is. Like, I'm all for people changing. I'm all for it. Like,
when it
I
comes
know,
to child murderers,
but
they should stay where they are.
You murder a child, then no way. Yeah, there's no changing.
No,
that.
I don't think there is. I think once you've got that instilled, that's evil.
Yeah,
that's evil. That's innate within you. You can't change that. You can't
I know
rehabilitate
people
that.
do stuff like shoplifting, things like that, but murdering a child, it's next level. Like you can't
change
yeah,
that.
No.
So, where can we find this petition for people that are listening? Because I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be tuned into this interview. Where can we find the petition?
So the petition is on my. I've got a page on Facebook, Sharing Kams Cuddles, and it's pinned on there. The first thing when you go on the page, it's pinned on there.
And that's your organisation, is it? Sharing Kams
Cuddles?
Yeah.
Like we're not like registered organisation, but it's what I do when I raise awareness and things like that. But this year, that this is my goal.
So follow it, guys, if you're listening on Facebook, Sharing Kams Cuddles.
Yeah.
And we can also find the petition on there.
Yeah. And then I just share stuff on obviously my personal social media. That's all open as well.
So what are you hoping to do for this year? They might come and expect from you this year.
I'm hoping to, because I've got a parents group as well.
Okay, you've done that recently,
haven't you? Recently. So I've just started a parents group up, and it's just a place for parents to meet and just release any burdens they got on themselves. And that was to do with, I read a story about a mum, a single mum. She committed suicide because she just couldn't deal with it anymore. But I was reading the comments, and there was loads of negative. How can she leave her kids like that and things like that? But it's an understanding that, like, she felt so alone. If she had a group like that, then she might not.
Well, I
have
don't
done
have
that.
children, and I can't relate to what it's like to be that stressed out with children, because I don't. So it's, you can't judge until you're in that situation yourself.
So that's why I started the parents group up, and then I just want to get Sharing Kams Cuddles back out there and just start raising awareness again, and doing some fundraisings, and just helping children that have been witness of domestic violence or been abused.
And what do you aim for the petition finally? What numbers do you want to get to?
I need 100,000 within 6 months. It's been about a month now, so
5 months you need about, let's say 80.
80,000.
Yeah. Guys, if you're listening, please go on Sharing Kams Cuddles on Facebook and please just sign the petition. It takes 2 minutes of your time. You click the link, don't you? And then
you have to verify it in the email.
Make sure you do it, guys. Sarah, thank you very, very much for joining us on Switch Radio. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.